Good morning, my YouTube followers. Thank you so much for joining me this early, lovely morning with me at 9 a.m. I know it's really early, but thanks so much for hopping back on. Like I said, I'll be doing this every freaking day at 9 a.m., even on the weekend times when some people like to sleep in. And I was like, do I really want to wake up at 9 a.m. on the weekend? But I'm just like, yeah, I do. Because honestly, like this is a great way. I feel like it's very therapeutic, to get out here and kind of get in front of people and talk to people. And I feel like in these times, in these moments, there's a lot of people out there that, is going through a lot of shit, whether it, again, whether it be in finances, whether it be their job, whether it be their career, or whether it be a relationship. So many people are going through some shit right? So it's finding that finding that way to help yourself mentally get out of a funk, right? Finding, maybe some routines that will help you to uplift yourself, right? Through the days, right? And just not staying stagnant, not staying still, and keep on thinking about ways that you can be getting up and doing something to move forward and onward, right? Don't stay stuck in your funk. And it's all about standards. That's a topic that I decided to talk about today is standards. Is having standards for yourself and how to raise those standards for yourself, right? And I can only just talk I like a lot of people like to say this is what you should do, this is what you should do. Me, I like to just talk about like my experience, and then it resonates with people more when you hear somebody else is going through it or somebody's been through it, and then you kind of take from their story, and then you say, okay, great, this is what I can do based off of me hearing that person's story. Okay, it sounds kind of similar to mine. Now I know what I can do, right? Or that person's story kind of motivates me to say, okay, great, these are some areas that I can work on. So when it comes to raising your standards, right, it is in every freaking thing. Don't think it's just like in one area. It's just raising the standards on yourself in general, right? And I legit started to like realize this again when I hit freaking rock bottom. And it's so crazy, hitting rock bottom. I don't want to get off topic, but I just wanted to say this, like hitting rock bottom sometimes is not a bad thing. Like hitting rock bottom, it's just like you need to go through that to wake. Some people need this drastic thing to happen to them for them to wake the fuck up and for them to say, okay, shit, it's not going to get no worse than this. What the hell am I doing wrong? What do I need to do to get up and do something different with my life, right? So sometimes, again, hitting rock bottom is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just your perspective on how you decide to look at it, right? So honestly, like when you hit rock bottom, you start to observe your daily routines. You start to observe the way you think, the way you act, your surrounding. And then you start to say to yourself, okay, shit, maybe I need to work on myself. And how can I work on myself is raising my standards, right? Knowing my value, knowing my worth, right? And then from there, raising your standards in every area in your life, whether it be relationship, whether it be in your career, right? Everything, just raising your standards for yourself, whether it be how you treat yourself, right? And it kind of starts with keeping the promises that you make to yourself. Like if you say to yourself, okay, I'm gonna lose weight, right? I'm gonna get in shape. That's you already starting to raise your standards, right? You're raising the standards for yourself, right? You're saying, okay, great, I'm gonna make sure that I work out every day, right? And you start raising your standards a little bit. It's like baby steps, right? Then you say to yourself, you know what? I know my value, I know my worth. I'm gonna raise my standards in how I allow the outside world to treat me or see me. Then boom, you start setting boundaries, right? You start setting healthy boundaries. I think a lot of people get confused with boundaries that, you don't want to be rude, or you don't want to come off cocky or arrogant, or you care so much about what other people think. No, there's something called healthy boundaries. You need to set healthy boundaries for yourself, which then, turned into setting standards for yourself, right? At the end of the day, yeah, we got to care. It's nice to care about what other people's feelings and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, your mental health is so much more important than how other people are gonna see you or talk about you or whatever the case may be. You come first, right? I love this saying. It's like, you come into this world by yourself, you're going out by yourself, right? So it's like, you really need to like focus on how you're feeling, your mental health, right? And setting those healthy standards and boundaries for yourself with everybody else around you, right? And then there you set the tone on how you're going to allow other people to treat you, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like, if someone's treating you disrespectful, like, being rude to you, and it's like, how are you treating yourself? Because you are a reflection of whatever you're attracting to you, right? So if you're putting yourself down constantly, mentally saying, I'm fat, I'm not pretty, I'm not this, or you're disrespecting your body. You're disrespecting your body by not treating like eating bad foods that is not good for your body. Just like you're not treating yourself with respect, love, and care, and not caring about your body well, then again, about yourself, then again, that's what you're attracting, for people to treat you the exact same way. So when you set those standards for yourself and you keep the promises you make to yourself, then it's just like you're already setting the tone out there and how people need to be treating you, right? And at the end of the day, when you start doing that for yourself, that's when you're setting the standards and how somebody needs to treat you. And then that comes into boundaries, right? So then there's boundaries. You're not going to let anybody come in your circle to mess with, all those standards that you already set for yourself, right? You set the tone. It all starts with you, and it all starts with the standards and boundaries you have for yourself, right? You have control of that, not nobody else, right? So I started to like legit learn that how I'm allowing other people to treat me is how I'm freaking treating myself, right? When nobody's around and I'm talking to myself in my head, I'm looking at my body, I'm saying, oh man, I have this excess fat, I have, fat. I can never remember things. I'm not that smart as other people. Like, I don't know how other people do this. And I just compared myself with so much people around me. And it's just like all the self-talk that I was having inside of my head. It's just like, is it good self-talk? Am I loving myself? Am I treating myself with respect, love, and care? And it's like, we want other people to treat us that way, but how are you treating yourself? What standards and boundaries are you treating on yourself, right? So it all starts with you. It all starts with you. And then again, when you set those standards and those boundaries, again, that's what you're going to be attracting to you. So my biggest thing for you guys is like, especially how we're going into 2021, is start understanding, what are your standards? What are the boundaries that you're holding on other people around you, right? What healthy boundaries are you starting, right? And then that's what's going to propel to, like, people are going to start seeing you as like, oh wow, this girl's serious. Like, she's not playing. Like, they're legit gonna like fix up on how they talk to you or treat you, right? Like, when you set those healthy standards and boundaries, it's like, it's going to be like a whole new you, like a leveled up version of you, right? And that vibration of you having those standards and those boundaries is going to be like, woo, on another level. People are going to just come to you on a different type of level. And that's exactly what happened to me. It's just like my vibrations were so high with, and how I carried myself with my standards and my boundaries. Sometimes you might even get people, like, let's say a guy that tries to talk to you, and they'll be like, whoa, like, who do you think you are? Like, and it's like, no, I think that I love myself, and I know my value, I know my worth, and I had just set healthy boundaries. That's all it is that I just set healthy boundaries for me. Like, knowing how you're going to allow somebody to talk to you, right? Knowing the type of energy you want to be the type of people and energy you want surrounded you, right? If you want to level up in life, and let's say you want to be a multimillionaire, or you want to be, super successful, and, like, have an amazing financial mindset, to build wealth and all that stuff like that, you can't be hanging around with somebody that's not on that level. You need to level up and find a group of people where you can learn from and you can grow from, and they're already on that level, or they're on that same wavelength of you when it comes to their mental mindset and how they want to get there, right? So it's who you decide to hang around with. So again, you have to set those healthy boundaries. I'm not saying stop talking to some of your friends, right? I'm not saying that you have to shed the people, like your family members or the people around you. No, it's just setting those healthy boundaries and who you're going to allow into your circle and for how long, right? You got to know your value and your worth, and know that you're not going to allow certain people to step inside of your circle that's going to dim your light, or is going to affect your healthy boundaries, right? And it's the same thing with like relationships, right? Let's say you have somebody that you really like, and you notice that they're not respecting you, or they're not treating you a certain way. You need to set certain boundaries with that person. You need to let them know, like, no, I respect myself, I love myself, and I have certain boundaries and certain standards that I set that you need to oblige by to, be around me or be with me, right? And you just have, instead of saying it, you don't have to say it, you have to show it. You have to show the way you treat yourself with those standards, with those boundaries. And then people will oblige by that. They will respect that and they will oblige by it, right? Because you're treating yourself with it, right? And it's the same thing when it comes to a work environment, right? If you're getting in front of clients, right? Especially if you're an entrepreneur, and let's say you're getting in front of clients and stuff like that, it's the same damn freaking thing. Like, you need to have healthy boundaries. You need to set certain standards on how you're going to allow your clients to treat you, right? And they respect that even more. People respect you even more when you have healthy standards and boundaries. It's so crazy, you guys. They respect it even more. And they kind of look up to you to say, wow, like, that's great. Man, I wish I was I even get people sometimes say to me, oh, I wish I was you. How did you get there? What did you do? Right? And it all comes down to, again, sitting down and analyzing, your certain situations, how people are treating you, right? How do people talk about you, right? What kind of situations have you been in that you can reflect on and say, what was my lesson that I learned from that? Maybe I needed to have better boundaries in that situation or with that person. Maybe I needed to set better standards for myself in that situation with that person in that time, right? So it's literally taking a step back and reflecting, right? What are people talking about? What are people saying about you? What are the types of people that you're hanging around with? What are you allowing and what are you accepting in your circle right now when it comes to your relationship, when it comes to your family, right? What are you allowing and accepting when it comes to your damn self? How are you treating yourself on a daily basis, mentally, physically, right? Take all those things into consideration, write them all down, and then say, okay, great. Where can I start? Where can I start to set healthy boundaries and healthy standards for myself? Start with you first, and then work your way around everything else. And that's where you can level yourself up to have these healthy boundaries and standards. And then it's like literally a new version of yourself, where again, now you're going to start attracting people that are going to understand those boundaries, who are going to understand those standards you set for yourself. And it's so crazy because the people that may get offended from you setting those healthy boundaries or standards and all that is because they don't have them for themselves. It's just that simple, right? They don't have healthy standards and boundaries for themselves. And if they did, then they would understand that you are just showing yourself self-love and caring about yourself to have those boundaries and have those standards for yourself, right? People that are not following those things won't understand. and they won't reciprocate it back onto you. But that's okay. That's when you just have certain people and certain things at a certain level. That's it. You have to understand that there's certain people that are gonna come inside of your life for certain seasons of your life, right? And that was a big thing that I heard, and I like did my hardest to understand. Is okay, great. Like there's like I feel bad sometimes when I lose people, or I just feel like I'm not feeling the same friendship anymore with them. And I used to feel bad, but now I look at it and I'm just like, no, it was just a certain season. They were just inside of my life for a certain season in my life to either teach me a lesson, or to teach me a lesson, right? That I learned a lesson from them, and then now it's time to move on and move forward, right? But again, when you set those certain standards and boundaries, it's just like it's like you're creating a new you, right? And it's so refreshing, it's so invigorating. And again, the people who love you and really care about you will understand. And if they don't, that's okay. You don't have to stop talking to them, just keep them on a certain level. And you will see, when you start setting those healthy standards and boundaries, you'll start leveling yourself up and knowing your worth inside of your workplace, knowing your worth when you get in front of clients, right? Knowing your worth with your time and how you're investing your time, because like time is so precious, time is so valuable, and time is something that you can never get back. Money can come, money can go, but time is something you'll never ever freaking get back. So when you start setting healthy standards and boundaries, you don't mess around with your time. Your time is you look at your time and you're just like, okay, great. With my healthy standards and boundaries that I'm going to set, I'm going to know where I invest my time, who I spend time with, who I invest energy with. Like it all starts again with those healthy boundaries and standards that you set for yourself. And that's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of energy with certain things inside of life, whether that be your career, whether that be your job, whether that be your family, whether that be in a relationship. It all comes back down to setting healthy standards and healthy boundaries for yourself, right? And that has helped me a long way with getting my face off the ground when I freaking hit rock bottom. That is understanding, what are my standards, Tracy? What are my boundaries, Tracy? And what am I going to do to set those boundaries and have those standards that, I'm going to show people that I have self-love for myself. I have self-love for myself. And hey, if you're not going to understand my boundaries and my standards that I have for myself, maybe you're not meant to be inside of my life. Maybe I'm not meant to be in that job. Maybe I'm not meant to be, dealing with you as a client. Maybe I'm not meant to be with that friend. Maybe I'm not meant to be with that person, right? Show yourself that you deserve to have healthy standards and healthy boundaries, right? And from there, that's showing yourself that you love yourself, right? And it all starts with you. So you are going to attract certain people that are just not going to respect, and that's okay. They're just not meant to be inside of your life. And that's how I feel that I funneled out certain people inside of my life, or certain relationships. Because at the end of the day, when I have those healthy boundaries and standards for myself, it's either they're going to get it or they're not, right? And that's okay. That's okay, right? But you need to understand that you come first, and understanding you come first and you love yourself is having those healthy standards and having those boundaries. And like I said, you can start off really small, start making some small promises that you wanted to change. 2021 is coming around the corner. There's so many people saying they're going to have a New Year's resolution, or they're going to start in, January doing this, that, to have healthy boundaries and standards. But at the end of the day, why not start now? In my opinion, 2021 has already started. I started December. I started to reflect on what are my healthy standards, what are my healthy boundaries, how can I improve on them, what areas can I become a better version of myself. I started to reflect on certain things that I went throughout 2020, and how can I work on, how can I learn from those situations to work on myself to get better, right? So at the end of the day, work on your boundaries and work on your standards. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming on at 9 a.m. Sorry, that's my condo fire alarm going off. But thank you so much for joining me, you guys. Please leave a comment. Please share this YouTube video if you found value in yourself. If you know anybody out there that needs to set standards for themselves, that needs to set boundaries for themselves, please share the video with them. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow at 9 a.m. And hopefully the fire alarm won't be on. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Take care.